Well, it's a new weekend and more parts came in for the golf cart. I bought these heavy duty leaf springs, which are 4 ply for the rear of this golf cart, so that with this new bench seat on it, we don't get as much sag. Now, my other video, I think I put in there that this bench seat added 110 pounds of weight to the back of this golf cart, and I did notice as I was walking behind it, I do notice that this left side just sitting here, this left side's got some sag to it. If you notice that shackle, that hanger right there, has got a little bit of a pitch to it too. I don't think it's supposed to be that way, but anyway, I've got all new bushings. I bought it as a kit. Comes with new bushings and a couple sleeves. This is the kit I bought off of eBay. And so now I'm going to jack this thing up and pull the wheels and put these on. Now, one of the things I'm going to do before I jack it though is I'm going to take a tape measure and I'm going to measure from the floor up to the bottom of that fender, the fender well right there, and do a before and an after just to see how much lift, if anything, I get out of these new springs. So I'm going to do the measurements now. Okay, on this fender here at the center of the tire, measures 19 3/4, so right there on the left side. On the right side, it's 20 1/4. So there's a 1/2 inch higher on this side than it is on that side. Don't know why. It's not tire pressure. It's got to be the squat or the spring weakness. But the right side is a 1/2 inch higher. Here at the back, in the center of the foot, measures 11 5/8 at the step right here. So that's what I've got. Now I'm gonna jack it up and do this side first. Pull the wheels. Take that old leaf spring out, put new bushings in above it, which I have a set right here for the upper bushings. Okay, I got it up in the air. I put the jack under the back bumper where a hitch would be, I guess. It's a solid frame back there, and I jacked up the rear and got it underneath these jack stands. The front I put up on these ramps just to help level it out. The downside of that is I don't have any. I've got the brake pedal set. I don't know if you can see that or not. I've got the brake pedal set, but the brakes are on the rear wheels, so they're not going to turn. But at the same time, I got to make sure that I don't get to making this cart rock back and forth and have it come off of those ramps or those jack stands. So I'm going to keep that jack under there for now. Eventually I'll need that jack to support the weight of the axle when I start pulling the leaf spring pins, bolts out. But I got to get the tire off first, so let's go ahead and start that. Half inch impact, cordless impact is the way to do this. I don't know that there's a torque spec for this, but everything I found says just tight. Wow, look at that. So I pull that off, and lo and behold, that castle nut that holds that bearing and the hub on there is on, but there's no cotter pin in it. So before I put this back together and close this up, I'm going to check that bearing. I'll let the brake off and I'll check that bearing and make sure that that's not too tight or too loose, and then I'll put it where it's supposed to be and put a cotter pin in there. But first we got to get these off. So to do that, I got to support the axle in the center. Okay, well, I got the left side spring out, and as you can see, there's probably a wave or a bend in that. So that tells me that that original spring has been overloaded, and that probably explains why this side was squatting a little bit lower than the other side by a ½ inch. Because there's a little bit of a hump in that. There's not supposed to be. So you can see the new one's going to go in. Another thing about these old ones, they're probably the originals, but if you look at these bushings that come out of here, you can see how these are irregularly worn, and it's because it was getting pressure in the wrong places. So that sleeve comes off, but you can see the bushing. It's probably a factory original bushing, and it's worn out, but I've got all new sleeves and bushings, and of course these new springs. So all that is going to go to the scrap. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and replace the bushings in this upper shackle piece while I'm here. Okay, the new leaf is on the driver's side. Not the easiest thing to get to at first. I had to get creative with wrenches and different sockets and stuff and adapters just to get in there because of the fairings and stuff that might in the way, but it all went back together the way it's supposed to. I used the original bolts. They were a little corroded, rust on them a little bit, but I cleaned them up and put them back in. Now I gotta check this bearing and put a cotter pin in it, and then it'll be down here. Put the tire back on and move to the other side. That side is done. One down, one to go. All right, new springs are on. Both sides are all done. And if I remember right, this was 19 and a half, and that side was 20 or 20 and a half, something like that. Both sides are done. Let's do a measurement and see if we got any height gain. Oh yeah, 21 inches on this side. "21 inches on this side. So that's good. I'm quite pleased. So I'll wait till tomorrow and we'll take it for a test ride.